Mike Maloney, the owner of goldsilver.com, is doing a great service by releasing regular video clips which analyze and comment on the economy in a way you're just not going to hear on mainstream media. Mike's latest video, entitled "The Truth About the Fed's Rate Cuts," released November 11, 2019, is actually not about the economy per se, but about currency abuse, interest rate cuts, and a big fat warning about the coming recession. Mike starts with a slide he's shown many times before, U.S. currency creation, but he revisits the topic so he can compare it to Switzerland. In response to the financial crisis, the U.S. created about 5 times the original amount of its currency, but the Swiss have created 12 times. Further, the U.S. stopped currency creation in 2014, but unbeknownst to most investors, the Swiss didn't end their currency creation until just last year. All this from a country that supposedly has one of the strongest fiat currencies in the world. The Swiss franc has long been regarded as the most reliable and solid, yet it has been diluted and debased worse than the U.S. dollar. The message being, those fiat currencies widely considered to be strong by international investors are actually just as weak or weaker than the U.S. dollar, and thus highly vulnerable to a monetary and financial crisis. Mike then touches on the latest hot-button issue in finance today, repurchase agreements, which are overnight loans the Fed makes that banks promise to repurchase. Check out the sudden spike in this chart from Mike's video. In just the past few months, $215.5 billion worth of repurchase agreements have been created. You'll notice it was flat for a full decade and now is higher than it was at any time during the Great Recession. We agree with Mike's reaction when he asks, "What is going on with the world economy? Why have almost $250 billion in repurchase agreements been created when the economy is growing, unemployment is at all-time record lows, and the stock market is at all-time highs?" Clearly, something else is going on behind the scenes that suggests not all is as well as presented. Mike ends with a scary chart about interest rate cuts and recessions. He uncovers something we haven't seen anyone else talk about. Follow Mike's cursor as he counts down the relationship between interest rate cuts and the timing of the next recession. It's really quite eye-opening. Mike ends with a 4-word warning. You'd better get ready. Are you ready for the next phase of the economic, financial, and monetary madness? The Fed's desperate attempts to keep the game going are blatantly obvious, so Mike's warning is not hyperbole. History shows that physical gold and silver provide the strongest buffer against crisis or calamity. We hope you and your family, like ours, will be ready when it strikes. Please take the time now to watch Mike's video, "The Truth About the Fed's Rate Cuts," by clicking the link below.